All right. Well, welcome to EDT 315. This is an 8-week course, as you all know, because you have not been attending this class for the past 8 weeks. And one of the things that I've come to realize is no matter how many times I look at the academic calendar for the university, somehow this second 8-week session only comes out to 7 weeks. I'm not sure where they get the eighth week from, but even counting the finals week, it seems like we really only have 7 weeks, but it's fine. We'll make it work. It's all good. I will still consider it an 8-week session, even if it's only the 7. So welcome everybody. I am Professor Miller. I am not a doctor. That is one of the things I like to address right off the bat. I get a lot of email addressed to Dr. Miller, and I do appreciate the honorary doctoral, but I am not that yet, nor will I probably ever be. My father was the doctor of the family. Um, and my own background here at the university is I have been both student uh, and teacher here. I did my master's in educational technology, and I've even forgotten what year it was that I completed that. It was somewhere around 2007 or something like that. And then I turned around and taught in the graduate program for educational technology for a couple of years. And then took a bit of a break and then came back about 4 years ago to continue teaching in the educational technology program. So most of what I do at the university is in the graduate, the master's program for educational technology. But I also teach this class and one other class during the summer term that is more for, well, the summer class is more for ed leadership, and then this class, which is geared mainly towards people in, I guess, teacher leadership or just general education. So that's a tiny bit about me. If you want to learn more, there is a page on our Blackboard for me to give a little bit more of an introduction to myself. But before we go any further tonight, I do want to get a sense a little bit of who each of you is. Many of you have contributed to the forum on Blackboard to just give a little bit of introduction to yourselves. If you have not completed that, I would appreciate you doing that at some point soon. It can be helpful for me, especially in these courses that are mostly online. If I have a reference I can go back to, if I'm getting an email from somebody, sometimes it's nice for me able to go back and look up and kind of refresh my memory of sort of who's who and what backgrounds and things like that. We've got a pretty wide mix in the class. We're pretty much evenly split between undergrad and graduate. Last 8 weeks, almost every student in this class was a PE major. I'm not sure how that works out. I know we have a number of PE majors still this semester, but we also have a lot wider spread in terms of what area you are working in and so on. So I just want to give a moment to kind of go around the room quickly and get a quick introduction from each of you. I can put a bit of a name to a face to a background. And then I'll go over what we're going to go over this evening. Like I said, I want to keep it relatively brief tonight. This class, not get ahead of myself, but this class is largely self-driven. I will be on WebEx most Monday nights, but it's not to teach a class. It's just to be there to kind of go over the next week's material, give a chance for people to stop in if they have questions and things like that. So more of kind of a group office hour, as it were, as opposed to actually teaching on Monday nights. So after this meeting tonight, many of you I may not see or really hear from many of you for several weeks going down the road. So, but we will get there. So let's just kind of go around. I could call off names, but that seems, I don't know, that feels a little elementary school to me somehow. So I'll just allow anybody who wants to volunteer. Maybe just, obviously your name, what program you're working in, maybe where you are in that program. I know many of you are probably getting ready to do student teaching, maybe in the spring. You're almost to the end of your program. So maybe just give us a quick idea of where you are in terms of your degree work. And I don't know if there's something sort of that you want to share about yourself, some, I don't know, hobby or something you're involved with, or something that you do outside of your work at Central. You will learn very quickly. My main outside of educational technology work is all in music. I am a high school music teacher in my day job. So that is basically my life outside of educational technology, is involved with music. So if there's anything like that you just want to share real quick, we don't need to, take a ton of time, but so does anybody want to just jump in and get things going? Maybe, I don't know, maybe throw your hand up, and that way if we have multiple people,
Start.
uh, Andrew, why don't you go ahead there?
My name is Andrew Bolkar. I am a junior at Central. I am in the PE program. I student teach spring 24, so we got like a year and a half left almost. And I guess I like working out, hanging out with friends. I enjoy watching sports and coaching and all that stuff.
All right. Well, welcome, Andrew. So you probably knew most of the people that were in this class the last 8 weeks, I'm guessing. So, oh, and I should also say, because obviously most of the names that pop up, and certainly the names that are in Blackboard for me, are your like full university registered names. If there's a name you prefer to use, please just let me know as well right now. I'll at least make that adjustment at my end, so that when I'm communicating with you, I'm using the name you prefer to use. All right, who wants to follow up Andrew there? All right, Robert, go ahead.
Hi, yes, I'm Robert. I am getting in the process of getting certified to teach TESOL, K-12 TESOL. I'm an ESL teacher at East Hartford High School right now. Sort of thrown in at the deep end. I'm under a DSAP, so I'm taking classes and I'm working full time. I have like my left eye hasn't stopped twitching for the last 2 months. But I'm loving it. I'm learning a lot. The students are great. They've got a great program at East Hartford. Fantastic students, and as I said in my intro on Blackboard, I'm interested in always interested in learning. Getting new ideas for how to integrate technology into the classroom. So yeah, excited to see what there is to see.
All right, well, welcome, Robert. All right, let's keep the ball rolling here. Oh, that was really quick. I think, Ashlyn, you were just a hair before Tom. So, Ashlyn, why don't you go next? And then, Tom, you can follow up after that.
I am Ashlyn. I was going to follow up with Robert because I'm also under DSAP as a TESOL teacher, but in New London. And I currently teach in elementary. I finished my master's in applied linguistics last semester, so now I'm just finishing up everything for the certification. So trying to survive, doing my ed TPA right now as we speak. So I'm struggling.
Yeah, I hear that. I'm thankfully about a year and a half out now, but for a while I was not only full time in the district where I teach, but I was doing a postmaster's program in music education, basically a second master's degree, and I was teaching adjunct through the educational technology. And I also manage our school's auditorium. So any events that come into our school's auditorium, I'm involved with too. So for those of you that are living double or triple or quadruple lives right now, I hear you. I feel your pain. I will do everything I can to make this class as painless as possible, so we're not adding on to the load. So, all right, let's keep it going here. Who's up next? Oh, who was somebody had their
Me.
Tom? Thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm Tom Terrell. I'm a PE major. I'm a junior. I got about a year left. And my hobbies, I like to watch sports, play sports. Doesn't really matter what it is. I mean, I just like to have a good time pretty much. So,
How about curling? Do you like watching curling?
I mean, I would like watching curling. That's something different, I think. Like I watched Turk. What is it? The one where they throw the ball. I always forget. Cricket. Cricket. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Cricket's fun to watch.
Yep. So, all
Nice to
right.
meet
Well,
everyone.
welcome, Tom. All right. Now who's okay? Tim, I saw your hand go up there.
Yep. Hi, I'm Tim. I'm also a PE major. I'm in my 4th year. I'm hoping to student teach next fall, and yeah, I'm really passionate about it. I was a camp counselor this summer for 6th grade, and I really liked it. So yeah.
All right. Welcome. Hang on. I've got somebody just joining the room here, so let me let them in while I am thinking of it. All right. Let's see. Zach, I think I saw your hand up there, so why don't you head next?
Hi, I'm Zach Sarukian. I'm also a PE major. This is my final semester of classes. I'm student teaching next semester, so I have to do the EdTPA thing next semester. Not really looking forward to it. Taking the praxis right now and just finishing up coursework. And I guess PE majors, we like sports a lot. I do a lot of coaching. I recently got a coaching job doing lacrosse at Fairfield Ward, so I'm really excited about that.
Awesome. Very good. Well, welcome, Zach. Let's see, Sam, is that a hand up to introduce?
Yeah. I'm Sam Rydell. I'm a PE major. I'm in my 4th year. Hoping to student teach in fall of next year. I like to play golf on my free time. Like to work out a lot. So yeah, those are some of my hobbies.
All right. Well, welcome, Sam. Let's see. I know we got a few left to go here. Jacob, I saw you, and then Kristen, you can go after Jacob.
How's it going? I'm Jacob. I'm a secondary history education major. I have about a year left. I don't really do too much outside of Central. I work a lot. Like, I just started Next Gen Educators. Next week's my first day, and then I work at the Latin American Latino Caribbean Center in the library. Sometimes I work weekends in Newington where I live, but it's like an off and on type thing. So, yeah.
All right. Well, welcome to the class, Jacob. And let's see. Oh, the hand went down. Who had their hand up? Somebody. Oh, Kristen. Yep. Go ahead, Kristen.
So my name's Kristen. I'm in the post-bac World Language Certification for Spanish. I'm currently on a DSAP, so I'm teaching 6th grade Spanish over in Farmington. It's my 2nd year in that role. And yeah, I have EdTPA in the spring, but no student teaching.
Gotcha. All right. You're kind of around the corner. I teach at Lewis Mills, which is Burlington, Harwinton, Region 10. So we're the next district west from Farmington. So
I actually am a graduate of Region 10.
oh, okay. The name does look a little familiar. I don't think I had you in any classes, but
No, not much of a music person
yeah,
personally.
that's all right. I won't hold it against you.
Thank
So,
you.
all right. Let's see, Jeremy. I see your hand up there. Oh, I think you're muted, Jeremy. Oh, there you go.
Okay. So I'm in the program for teaching history to secondary students. I came to Central for my bachelor's degree for political science and history, and then a master's degree in international studies, mostly working on the political side of it and the historical side of it. Currently, I work as a special ed teacher in the West Hartford public school system. Really enjoy that. I spent 13 years with the state of Connecticut working between DDS and DEMIS, so I have a background with working with individuals with disabilities. So that was part of the reason they wanted to bring me in. But I really do want to become a history teacher. I've always enjoyed history. So
Awesome. All right. Well, welcome, Jeremy. All right. There's probably, what, 3 or 4 left here? Let's see. Oh, let's go to the other Jeremy. Sorry, I shouldn't say other because that makes you sound like the secondary, but to another Jeremy.
So hello everybody. I'm also Jeremy. I am a phys ed major as well here at Central, and I'm a senior. And for my day job, I'm a para in Bristol at Ivy Drive Elementary in a behavioral classroom. So it's kind of fun. It's got its moments. And then speaking of Burlington, on the weekends I work at the Greenhouse Tavern. So if I ever see you there, you're there.
We eat there not infrequently. In fact, we were there just about a week and a half ago. But yeah, I know Christian pretty well, the owner.
I love him. Yeah. Hey, well,
So,
I guess I'll see you in passing there.
yeah, you never know. But so yeah, I go way back to when it was just a landscape business, and now
Yeah,
it's
for
become a
sure.
real like destination restaurant. So all right, well, welcome both of the Jeremys. Evgenia, do you want to go ahead? Hopefully, I said that correctly.
Hi, my name is Evgenia Beretti. I know my name is difficult. Don't worry if you're mispronouncing it. To make it easier, visualize a Y where the G is Evgenia, or if you want, you can omit one of the two sounds. So Evgenia. It's easier for people. Evgenia.
All right, I made note of that.
Don't worry about it. It's okay if you mispronounce it. It's fine. I will know you're talking to me because nobody else in the classroom has the same name. So I'm going for my certification in TESOL. Yeah, the teaching practice probably I will do in the next semester, or if not the next semester, in the fall semester. I'm like kind of terrified about it. A lot of paperwork to, 2 words to get it, and then actually in the classroom. Yeah, but it'll be okay. I'm a positive person, even though I'm very stressful. Um, what else? My hobbies are I like cooking and I love cleaning. And a fun fact about me: I just got married in July, so I'm very excited. Thank you, thank you. And my birthday was on Thursday.
Oh,
I turned 29. Yay!
yay! I won't say how old I am because I just won't. I've been teaching long enough at Lewis Mills where I teach. This is my 24th year in the district, and I've had this realization recently that the students that I had in my first couple of years of teaching are now in their 40s or getting close to their 40s, and I just can't. I can't picture that. They're still 18 for me, and trying to think of them being 40 is a bit tough for me. So, all right. I think, unless I've missed something here, I think Scott, you might be our last one, unless I missed someone. So,
well, hello everyone. Nice to meet all of you, and good luck in all of your studies. I am kind of finishing up class work this fall for secondary history, and I'll be doing student teaching at East Granby in the spring. So I'm looking forward to that very much. And like I said, I'm glad to be here and looking forward to learning more about ed tech.
oh, all right. Well, welcome, Scott. And I think I didn't miss anyone, correct? I think that's everyone. You may hear my dog barking in the background. We don't get many trick-or-treaters here, but we get a couple. So he likes to greet them all. So you may hear him in the background. All right, so let me just kind of dive into what I want to go over for this evening. As I said, this class is really designed to be essentially an online asynchronous class. In other words, you're really going to be kind of on your own in terms of moving through the material. I do pace the material each week, so each week I will be kind of releasing another chunk in Blackboard. I just find that that's good in terms of keeping everybody. If there are questions or things that I need to go over, sort of having the material at least come out in a way that is structured. But it doesn't mean necessarily that, if you've got an extra busy week and you can't get to the stuff that week and you have to push it back a little bit, that's generally going to be totally fine. You will learn very quickly. I'm not a huge stickler for things like due dates and stuff like that. They exist. They're there to help you, to sort of guide you in terms of staying on track with the material. but you know, obviously from listening to all of you, many of you have many different things going on. Our lives are busy, mine included. So I want you to feel like you have that flexibility to kind of move through the class in a way that works with your schedule. I will be, as I said, I will be online most Monday nights. There will probably be one or two that that either I'm not available, or there's a couple that are just programmed into the course where I won't be on Monday night. But most Monday nights I'll be on at 7:20. It is optional. Generally, what I will do is basically what I'm about to do now, which is just kind of go over the scope of the next chunk of the work. Allow people to ask questions if they have questions, either from previous work or about that week's new work, or sort of anything in general. But they are not instructional evenings. And I do record all of those meetings. And generally, by either the end of that night or the next morning, those videos are posted in Blackboard. So if you want to take the time to go back and watch whatever happened on the Monday night, just in case maybe somebody asks a question that you might have had, or you just want to see me go through the material for the week and provide my explanations, those videos will be available on Blackboard for each week. So those Monday nights will be optional. So let me do this. I know, of course, that you can all read, but I'm just going to throw up on the screen here from Blackboard. You don't have to open up Blackboard if you don't want to have it open. I'll have it here on the screen as well. Just kind of shift some things around here. There we go. And I'll start by talking about the course overview, and then talk specifically about this first week of the course. So let me change here over to the syllabus. So syllabus, hopefully you've had a chance to go through this if you wished. It's on that introductory page in Blackboard. A lot of this hopefully is pretty self-explanatory. I'm not generally on campus. I occasionally make it onto campus, but if you need to get in touch with me, email me at any time. I try. I'm not 100% successful, but I really try. If somebody emails me, I try to have a response back to you by the end of the following day. So if you email me on a Wednesday evening, I should have a response back to you by the end of Thursday. Don't hesitate if you've emailed me and you don't hear back within a day or two to re-email me. I won't get upset about that. Occasionally emails get missed, or I lose track of something or whatever. So don't worry about reminding me again if you have a question. But I will try to respond to everything within a day and a half. Everything is going to be on Blackboard. It used to be that I used another platform at the university called Moodle, and they discontinued Moodle about a half a year ago. So I've migrated everything over to Blackboard. That's where everything's going to be. That's where assignments are, where you'll get your grades and feedback on them and all that sort of stuff. So if you're not that familiar with Blackboard, although many of you probably are by this point, that's where everything will be. You don't really need anything special for this class. I'm going to be providing any readings that we have. You don't really need any specialized hardware or software. I'm going to assume, since you are all online right now, that you all have access to some sort of a computer that has internet access. Most of what we're going to do is going to be, if we need technology, is going to be internet based. These days, I'm usually able to find apps that don't require you to download an app to your computer. I know some people are using school laptops and things where you have kind of limited abilities to add new software. So for the most part, everything we're going to be doing is through online platforms that you should be able to access from any device. In terms of the course itself, I mean, the name of the course kind of is self-explanatory: educational technology in the secondary classroom. The image that I like to use for this class is, and maybe this is because I also come from a carpentry background, but the idea of this class is to help fill your toolboxes. All right. You are all in the process of being an educator, becoming an educator, expanding your abilities as an educator. And so the more things that we can have at our fingertips, the more successful we're going to be as teachers. Um, you know, with all of the emphasis these days on individualized instruction and student-led instruction, the days of kind of having one cookie cutter way to approach a classroom of students with a topic is kind of gone. So you need to have the ability to pull from many different resources, to have a lot of different materials at your fingertips, different approaches at your fingertips, so that you're able to help each of your students in the way that's going to best suit them. So for this class, the focus is on the technology piece of that. As somebody who has been involved with technology very heavily for several decades, um, one thing I do like to say is that I also immediately acknowledge that technology is not the solution for everything. So I'm not somebody who's here trying to say, put technology into your classes and they will suddenly become so much better, right? That is not the case. Just like, to use the carpentry analogy, I may have a toolbox full of tools, but the hammer is not going to be the right tool for every job. If I'm going to try to cut a 2x4 in half with a hammer, I'm going to be there a while and the result is not going to be very pretty. Technology can be really powerful. It can be a great addition. But one of the things that in educational technology that we find ourselves fighting is in a lot of school settings, they've sort of adopted the latest and greatest technology, thrown it into the classrooms without really any plan, and said, here you go, this is going to fix everything. And without a plan in place, without an understanding. So we're going to be spending the first week or so of this class kind of setting some foundational um, ideas about how to choose technology and when technology is appropriate, and kind of getting a framework in place first, and then starting to look at some of the specifics. We are also going to keep this class as practical as possible. It sounds like many of you are in a classroom already. For those of you who are not, you have obviously spent a lot of your time in classrooms as a student. The main project for this class is going to center around 2 lesson plans that you're going to be developing. We're going to incorporate technology into those lesson plans. But if they are lessons that you might actually be teaching with an actual group of students, then that would be sort of the best scenario. So I encourage you, all of you, to try to make everything we do in this class as meaningful to you as possible. So I'm hopefully never going to ask you just to do something for the sake of doing it. You should always have a way to connect it directly to what you are currently doing or what you will be doing. For example, the lesson plan template that we are going to be using in here is the lesson plan template that Central uses for their student teaching program. So some of you may have already seen this template. It is directly from the teacher education department and from the area that does the student teacher placements. So it will be a form. I figure if you're having to do lesson plans, may as well learn to do them on the form that Central is going to be asking you to use in your student teaching. All right, so that's a little bit of the background of the course. In terms of projects, it really boils down to 3 kind of main areas. One of them, as I said, it's listed here as unit plan, but really that's the 2 lesson plans. So you're not going to be planning an entire unit of instruction. You're going to be picking 2 lessons that might exist within a larger unit. And you're going to be developing those. We're going to look at the instructional design framework for them. We're going to look at incorporating multimedia materials, interactive materials, online materials, looking at the assessment piece, and kind of looking at how we can bring technology into each of those aspects of the lesson in order to expand these toolboxes. Wix website. So the purpose of this is not so much about teaching all of you how to create websites. Um, Again, as somebody who's been in a district now for almost a quarter century, when I started, websites weren't even a part of what we did in teaching. And then it seemed like for about 10 years, the focus was all on every teacher having a website, and we were managing those websites, and that's where we were supposed to put our materials and information to the public and all of that. And to be honest, I haven't heard the word teacher website in my district for about 10 years now. Now everything has moved to these learning management platforms. So things like Google Classroom, and my district is a Microsoft district, so we use Teams or Schoology or Moodle or any of these other platforms. So, so the Wix website piece of this is not about the website, but I want to have a place and a way for you to take these two lesson plans that you're developing and kind of format them in an online format. So it would be taking the place of like a Google Classroom or a Schoology, but since those are, if you're in a district, if you've got Google Classroom, if you do something there, I can't really see it because most districts have a very closed environment. So we're going to use the website, but we're just going to use the website as a platform for you to kind of present your two lessons as if you were teaching them online in sort of an asynchronous mode. Um, the last few years have taught all of us in teaching about how important it now is to have online teaching tools available to us. So that's what that piece of it is going to be. So it's going to be the same two lessons that you're kind of designing on paper and working with, but you will be using Wix just because it's free and it's online and it's pretty user friendly, as a place for you to kind of play around with what it would be like to teach these two lessons online in addition to the in-person piece of it. And then really the last piece is just most weeks there's probably going to be some kind of a discussion forum that we're going to participate in, or there might be little mini projects that you're asked to do. And those are kind of lumped together in kind of a classwork, discussion work kind of thing. So those really are the three main things, but the big one is the unit plan. That's going to be the centerpiece around which everything else we do in the class is going to revolve. All right, a lot of the rest of this you can read through on your own. A lot of it is the boilerplate stuff from the university. Inclement weather, we are starting to get into some colder weather now. You never know. Again, because this class is taught basically online, you know, if we have a big snowstorm on a Monday and the university closes, I probably won't be online that evening. But it's not like it used to be where if the university closed, then everything just shut down. But I'll use Remind as the tool to be in touch with people if there's last minute changes or things like that. So just be on the lookout for that. Oh, and that's a good point to also remind, in addition to doing that introduce yourself forum, if you haven't yet signed up for the Remind list, please do so. I've found that is by far the easiest and the quickest way to get in touch with the class if I need to. So if you can just sign up for that Remind, generally it's like I send one message a week, usually sometime over the weekend, just kind of saying, hey, here's the update for this week. I'll be on Monday night at 7:20. You can join me if you want. Don't forget to whatever. So I'm not going to bombard your text boxes with a lot of text through that. But please do that. In terms of the course outline, I have scheduled 8 weeks here, but again, the actual academic calendar really only gives us 7. But typically that 8th week is just a week for us to have one final meeting and kind of just present our projects and so on. So I might fold that week 8 really into week 7, but then just know that you will still have several days after that final meeting to kind of wrap up all of your final work for the class. I'm going to give you literally to the last minute until the university says I have to turn grades in. But like I said, for some reason, we only ended up with 7 weeks. So, so that is that. And then in terms of the structure of the class, I mean, hopefully this is pretty self-explanatory. We're going to kind of break it down into 3 or 4 topics that will each last a week or two. So these first couple of weeks are going to be a kind of setting the design stage, instructional design, graphic design, kind of a couple of principles like that, design principles. Then we're going to talk about interactivity for a couple weeks, and do a couple projects related to that. That is one of the places where technology really shines, is incorporating interactivity into activities that normally aren't. And then we're going to look at a couple of weeks doing some multimedia, actually producing some instructional materials. I can tell you right now, week 5 and 6 are really one class that lasts for 2 weeks. So there probably won't be any kind of a class meeting on December 5th, because that'll just be a continuation of the work from week 5. And then the last piece of the puzzle will be to take a look at assessment and some assessment practices, and particularly looking at using technology in assessment and what kind of challenges that presents, and so on. In terms of homework due, this should be pretty accurate, but I always say go off of whatever is in Blackboard. Every week on Blackboard, the first page for each week, at the end of it will say homework for next week. So if I need to make any adjustments to timings or assignments or forums or anything like that, they'll be on Blackboard. So this is the framework for the work as I see it now, but I reserve the right to have it changed down the road if need be. And then the final thing is, and I included these in here, if you are not familiar with the ISTE standards, that's the, oh gosh, I think it's the International Society for Technology Education. These are the national technology education standards. Just like each of you in your own area have some sort of educational standards that you teach to, technology is no different. The only difference is, and I can say this also from experience in my own district, is a lot of districts are now asking all of their teachers to know and to incorporate the ISTE standards into whatever they are doing with their other standards as well. In fact, we just had a visit last week in our district, in our PLDs, from our district technology person, basically telling us exactly that, that going forward, we're going to be expected in our curriculum documents and everywhere else to be showing that where we are supporting the ISTE standards. So if you're not familiar with them, they are included here. If you want to go into depth on them, then there's a link here also to the ISTE website where it goes into exhaustive detail about all of these. One thing I do like about the ISTE standards is that they have 2 separate sets of standards, one for teachers and one for the students. So you as teachers, there are actually standards that they want you as a teacher to adhere to. And then there are standards that are what they want your students to be able to do with technology and understand about technology. So it's good to kind of know both sides of things. So, all right, any questions on syllabus before I move on? Trying to practice good wait time here. So, all right. So, in terms of anything else on the introduction, like I said, if you haven't contributed to the Introduce Yourself forum, find a moment to do that. Here's the link for the Remind sign up. It takes about 5 seconds. In fact, I did just get a notification on my watch that somebody here, I didn't see who, somebody here just signed up for the Remind list while we were talking. So if you haven't done that, and obviously you're all here, so you all found the WebEx classroom link, but that's also there. Also, if you need my email, if you go into the my introduction, I've got my email link right there, but it's also super easy because it's just millerd@ccsu.edu if you need to get in touch with me that way. All right, so let me hop over here then to week 1 and just kind of give an overview. As I said, week one of this class is kind of about setting some frameworks. So we're going to cover a fair amount of ground in this first week. But the trade-off is that there's not a lot in terms of homework you have to do. Most of it is some reading and just kind of familiarizing yourself with a couple of key concepts that we're going to go over. So this is what most weeks you're going to have a page like this on the blackboard with goals at the top, and then there will be kind of a narrative overview of the class. And then I will have sort of the sequence of activities to do for that week. So that would include anything, read this, then do this page, then contribute to this, then do this. So this kind of gives you a one-stop shopping for kind of knowing what work you have to complete. And then, as I said, I will finish all of them with a work due next class. So you can see clearly, like, what are the things you actually have to turn in or do. For this first week, most of it is reading. There's really only one assignment that you have to contribute to, and that's a forum post. So for this first week, it's kind of a work in 4 acts. So number 1 is about instructional design. We teach in the educational technology program, we teach everything through the lens of instructional design. Instructional design is not just about technology. Instructional design is instructional design. This is what you should be engaging in regardless of your subject area, your access to technology, your students, whatever. Instructional design is really what you're doing. When you're creating your 2 lesson plans, that is instructional design. So the first page here is just going to provide kind of a background on instructional design. There are dozens of instructional design frameworks that exist out there in the world. I am not expecting you to go and research them all. That is not what this class is about. But there's some information just kind of introducing the range of them. For the purposes of this class, we are going to use UBD, which is Understanding by Design. Not every school district uses it, but I would be willing to bet that the majority of school districts currently use some variation of UBD as their instructional framework. In a nutshell, it means start at the end and then work your way back, meaning figure out what the goal is that you want your students to reach, and then back up and plan your instruction so that everything is aimed at that goal. It used to be that it was much more about the process, and we didn't really have clear outcomes in mind. That's really kind of flipped now. So there's information on this page about understanding by design. There is a white paper to read, which is kind of the official overview of the UBD framework for you to look through. And just if you're not familiar with this particular approach, it'll help you get into the frame of mind of why we're going to do what we do in this course in the order that we're going to do it in, which is to start with the end, with the goals, and then work our way back from there. Act 2, lesson planning. So this is getting you started on those projects. You're not going to have to really do anything this week other than just start to think about what 2 lesson topics you want to teach. So there's an overview here of kind of what you're going to be thinking about as you do your lesson plans. And then here are the 2 links to the actual lesson plan form template. The first one is just a PDF from Central, and I include it because it also has a second and third page that kind of go through box by box what you are going to be filling in, like what they expect you to show when you're doing your student teaching and what they want you to see fill in. So it's kind of like when you do a tax form and you turn the tax form over and they've got the box by box instructions of what you're supposed to fill in. That's basically what that one is. The other one is a Word document. This is the one you're actually going to download and actually type your lesson plans into. So it is a fillable version of the template. So and what I did is I put 2 lesson plans in one document, so that you can basically do both lessons in one document and just submit one document to me, rather than keeping them as 2 separate Word documents. So this downloadable one, at some point this week, download it, save it somewhere on a hard drive or in the cloud, and then that's where you'll actually be starting to fill in and what you will be submitting for your actual lesson plan. So just kind of go through that, take a look at that lesson plan form if you're not familiar with it. And I've got separate links out here also to both of those forms, so you can get to them a little easier. Third act of the week, just to start talking about some technology, is we're going to start by looking at social media, which is kind of a huge topic right now in education. There are a lot of good things that you can use social media for, but social media is also problematic in many ways. So this is going to be sort of an introduction to maybe some positive ways that you can incorporate social media into education. So there's a couple of videos here. There's some links to some articles. We're going to kind of focus in on Twitter, although here's how fast things change. If you're not aware, just within the last few days, Twitter now has a new owner, and Twitter may be kind of taking a different direction. We don't know. So Twitter may no longer be a platform that is as useful in teaching as it's been, but it's what I had up here, and I just want us to get going on something. So rather than trying to redesign that whole piece of it, but it's an object lesson in how fast technology changes, as you just never know from one day to the next. So this page is just to get you thinking about some ways to use social media. The forum you're going to write this week is about the connected educator, and a piece of that is obviously going to be using social media in various ways. So this page will kind of get you thinking along those lines. And then the fourth subtopic for the week is websites. And this is where I'm going to talk a little bit, or this is where the interview is going to, the introduction is going to be for the Wix website that you're going to be doing. So on here will be information about what you're going to be putting in your Wix website. There will also be links to Wix itself. One thing to do this week is just to get an account set up on Wix, get a website started, pick a template that you like, and just kind of get a couple of pages started on there. You don't really have to put anything specific on there other than working on maybe an About Me page where you can introduce yourself as if you were introducing yourself to your students. But really this week is just get a website started on Wix, and kind of poke around a little bit and get a sense of how that works. There's a link also here to the Wix help pages. So anything you want to learn how to do in Wix, they've got tutorials and help pages and forums and all sorts of stuff that you can use as resources there. So that is Act 4. And the only other thing then is that forum that is about the connected educator. One thing, if you have not done forums on Blackboard, and this is one thing that I really wish they would change, but it's the way it is. When I set up a forum, until you create a new thread, you don't see the sort of the instructions for the forum. So what you will need to do is go to the forum, hit create thread, then here will be the prompt for what you're going to write about. Generally speaking with forums, I recommend that you actually type up your post in Word or some other word processor. And then once you've completed it, copy and paste it into the post in Blackboard. Sometimes the system times out, so you may be in the middle of typing something and it logs you out. So it's better to just get it all typed somewhere and then just move the whole post into Blackboard all at once. But you can come here, you can even copy and paste all of this into your Word document. So you've got your prompt there and you know what you're supposed to talk about. So you'll create a new thread. And then because it is a forum, the expectation is for us to get conversations going around those threads. So as you see people start to post, take a look at what they've written. And if you feel so moved, write a response. I hate to put numbers on it because I would much rather focus on higher quality conversations than saying you have to provide 3 replies to 3 different threads or something like that. But try to respond to at least 2. That way, especially if they get spread out, then everybody is getting feedback from at least 1 or 2 people, which is nice to get, and so on. And if somebody replies to your thread and you feel moved to respond back to them, feel free to do that as well. I really like to emphasize using these forums as conversations, as opposed to just putting something up there and then just kind of letting it go. So in lieu of us being able to be in a classroom together and kind of have these conversations in real time, these forums really are meant to kind of mimic that online, although they're not perfect, but they're what we have right now. So you would just create a thread based on the prompt, post it, and then come back and, like I said, try to respond to at least a couple, just so that people are getting responses to their posts. So that is the overview for this first week. Like I said, it's largely reading through some informational pages. There's a couple of videos to watch. There's a couple of articles to read. You've got the template to download and to just start thinking about what you're going to do for your lesson plans. The only real, like, you're going to turn it in for me to look at, the only real assignment of this week is just that forum post of the Connected Educator. All right, I have just done a whole lot of talking. What are your questions? What are your concerns? What can I help address right now before we all go off and eat Halloween candy? Or not? Does anybody just buy candy for themselves because... All right, good. I'm glad I'm not the only one. Good. Okay. And I'm also a little hopeful every year that we don't get so many trick-or-treaters that they take all of our candy. Then there's always some left over. So, all right. So any questions, concerns, comments, criticisms? Yeah, go ahead, Robert.
So when we put our lesson materials up on the website, are we sort of to think of it as like, so the student is going to interact with this content as it stands on the website?
Yeah, like I said, if the WebEx, the Moodle platform I used to use at Central was great because I had the ability to create Moodles that you, the students, could use. And it was a great way to have students kind of be able to design online instruction using an actual online instruction platform. When Moodle went away, I kind of lost that tool. So for right now, this is the closest I can come to where I can guarantee that everybody can access it, that I can look at your work, that you're able to post things. So it's meant to be, if you're familiar with using something like Google Classroom or Schoology or anything like that, the Wix is meant to be kind of the replacement of that for this course. So you'll be taking what you do in your lesson plan and posting the materials on the Wix page as if a student was working their way through the lesson on their own through the website.
Okay, that makes sense.
All right. Anything else?
Do we need to share the Wix website with you right away, or is that going to be later on?
You can if you want to. I think I put that officially in week 2. I say, just email me the URL of your Wix site. So if you get one set up this week and you want to email me the URL, you may as well. I am going to collect them eventually. Just make sure, one thing that happens is make sure that you're actually sending me the published URL. When you're in Wix, you're in an editor. And some people just grab that URL. And what that does is it tries to log me into your site as a user. And I can't do that. So on your Wix site, it will have a separate URL that's like the public URL for your website. So that's the one you would want to send me. But so yeah, if you want to this week, that's great. If not, I'll officially probably ask for it in week 2.
Okay, thank you. And
Yep.
one other question.
Yep.
Since I teach Spanish, would you like my materials on the website to be in Spanish, like my About Me in Spanish, or would that be in English?
Again, it's really it's meant to be like the analog for what you would do for your actual students. So if you would do that in your school, if you would be posting that About Me page in Spanish, then post it in Spanish. I have the separate About Me post that you did in Blackboard, so that's what I will look at to learn about you. But think of it, yeah, sort of from the student's perspective and what you would do. Or maybe you want to provide it in both languages. I don't, whatever makes most sense for the students that you work with.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Great questions. Anything else? All right. Well, again, I welcome all of you. These 8-week classes are a real whirlwind, but hopefully, I'm not. I try to space things out enough and keep things uh, related to what you're doing enough that hopefully it doesn't add too much to all of your already busy schedules. If you ever need more assistance on something, you have questions, you have concerns, you need extra time on something, although again, there's not really extra time because you are largely self-driven in this class. But if you're concerned that you haven't gotten something turned in and want to touch base with me about it, just reach out via email. You can also use Remind to get quick messages to me too if you want to do that. But I will make myself as accessible as absolutely possible. I'm looking forward to working with all of you over the next 8 weeks, and just let me know how I can help. So a week from tonight at 7:20, I will be back on WebEx. It is optional. You do not need to be there, but if you have questions, if you just want to be there when I go through next week's materials so you can ask questions, feel free to join in. But if not, then the video from next Monday night will be posted and you'll be able to catch up that way as well. Same thing with tonight. I know you're all here, but I did record this evening's class and that will be posted by tomorrow as well. So if you need to go back over anything that I went over tonight, then you can do it through that video as well. All right, well, we are exactly 1 hour in, which is what I was sort of hoping to aim for. So I don't really have anything else to go over. So if that's it, I will send you all on your merry way. I will hang out here in the room until everyone's logged out. So if you've got something you want to ask me once everyone else is left, feel free to hang out. But if not, have a great week. Enjoy Halloween night. And just let me know how I can help. So thank you all.
Thank you.